Yeah, second time lucky. Steve keeps putting concert hall sound effects on my sound and stuff when he's listening to videos at night. I've told him to remember to turn it off, but he doesn't. He's a sweetheart, really. I shouldn't call him. Anyway, yes. House prices. Yes, at one time, with the house prices were rising and rocketing, and nobody could afford to buy a house. They couldn't afford a mortgage. Now, thank goodness, house prices are dropping because they were far too high. Nobody could afford a mortgage. Now, of course, the banks are refusing to lend people money to buy a house because house prices are dropping. So you can't win, can you? But I wouldn't buy a house again unless I could afford to buy one outright. I really wouldn't take on another mortgage because, even if I got a good job or something, the jobs market is so fickle at the moment. They can make you redundant at the drop of a hat. And at least, when you lose your job, they pay your rent when you're in rented accommodation. They won't pay your mortgage. They'll only pay the interest on the mortgage. And quite often that isn't enough to satisfy the mortgage companies. And they repossess your house, So I feel more secure in rented accommodation than I would if I had my own house. I would buy my own house if my book, it sold 2 copies so far as I'm aware of. It sold 1 copy in July on Kindle, which I bought. I downloaded it for Steve. And I bought 1 copy of my book from Feed-A-Read. Now, I haven't got last month's figures from Feed-A-Read. It's not showing up yet on Feed-A-Read how many copies I've sold. But if I make a lot of money out of my books and my YouTube videos, which isn't looking very likely at the moment, I might buy a house. But other than that, I feel a lot more secure in rented accommodation, Anyway, yes, scientists in America have found the happiness gene, MAOA. It affects the levels of feel-good chemicals in the brain, and it comes in highly active and less active. Now, the good news for women is it's more active in women. In males, when they reach puberty, testosterone affects the usefulness of this gene. So that's why men are so grumpy, because the testosterone affects the level of Fegal factor in the brain. But I think I have it. I think that antipsychotics is affecting the levels of feel-good factor in my brain. But I always had a very happy, sunny disposition before these psychiatrists started trying to force antipsychotics on me all the time. But the thing is, it is linked to alcoholism and antisocial behaviour. Well, that's me, isn't it? I always have been a bit antisocial. Not that I do anything to break the law or anything like that. Antisocial, I come out with very scathing, sarcastic comments in company, and I can't seem to stop myself, And it doesn't help to make me any friends, Plus, I've always got on better with men than women, so I tend to gravitate towards male company. And then all the women start screaming that I'm going to run off in an aeroplane with all the husbands and elope to them with the south of France. Can't think of anything more frightening than eloping with everybody's husbands to the south of France. quite frankly. But, you know, and then, you know, the men think you fancy them just because you've spoke to them, which is embarrassing, you know. I'm going to, I'm having psychological therapies, and I've asked, apart from everything, what I would like to work on is how I can identify with the female sex better. You know, because it's not that I don't like other women, I just seem to offend them without meaning to. So I'm going to do some work on that in my psychological therapies. So, fingers crossed, eh? Anyway, that's it for today.